The Dearborn Independent, October 29th, 1927, Volume 28, Number 2. Mr. Ford's page of the Dearborn Independent. The leaders are here. The severest poverty a nation can have is to be poor in men. Other scarcities can be met, but scarcity of the human qualities of vision, wisdom, and courage is fatal. This perhaps explains why so many people are alarmed at the apparent lack of leadership in this country. They sense the dangers which bankruptcy in men will bring, but their alarms are based on false premises. The leaders are here, but they're devoting their energies to new fields. Formerly finance and politics claimed them. Now they turn their heads and minds to industry and commerce and agriculture. Those who say the nation is leaderless are only looking in the wrong direction. No bankruptcy that a country can face is so dangerous as bankruptcy in man. All other kinds of scarcity can be met and mastered, but scarcity of the human qualities of vision, wisdom, and courage is fatal. Perhaps more people are conscious of this today than ever before, and the various conclusions they draw are the most effective influences active today upon the people's outlook of the future. What is it that is driving the people to entertain the thought that perhaps the nation is bankrupt of men? There is no doubt that it is nothing other than the apparent scarcity of high-class material in those regions where for the last 100 years we have looked for guidance. Our people, our nation has always looked into the regions of finance and politics for leadership. The men of oratory and the men of money were thought by the possession of these powers to be the nation's leaders. It was very fine while it lasted, and doubtless it served the nation during the period when those things were most significant. But being established as a leading classes, finance and politics attracted men whose ambitions were greater than their abilities and whose shrewdness was greater than their desire to serve. And so their personal began to weaken in power and impressiveness. It was like a business which, because of its success, attracts all manner of people who are much more interested in the profits than in the welfare of the business. And so the business gets a bad name and begins to run down. We have so many men who can make speeches today and so many men who can make money that these accomplishments have ceased to be distinctive. That is, what were formerly the upper reaches of leadership are now somewhat shabbier and much less powerful than they were. The power has gone out of them. Seeing this, the people jump to the conclusion that all the qualities of leadership in the country are going to cede and that there is no reserve left. And a country which gets itself into that state of mind is not in good national health. It is time to look at the matter in what is probably a truer light. If there is one thing the history of our race, the history of our great ideas of religious freedom and political liberty should have taught us is this: people dedicated to justice and service are never bankrupt of men. The national reserve is always greater than we believe. It is doubtless true that in official circles we are witnessing a great decline in vision and ability, or what seems to be that. It may only seem to be that. It is not improbable, however, that there is another element which we overlook. If things were still being done in the same old way, these men might not seem to us so helpless as they appear now. If they had the same conditions to deal with as obtained 50 years ago, or if conditions themselves were as susceptible to control as they were then, these men might appear quite as able as their predecessors. But we're approaching the end of a system of things, and all the tactics, all the skills, all the determination productive of results 50 years ago are powerless as child's arm against the immovable decree which has sounded the end of a certain chain of experience. The new time is pushing up under the old, and the old personnel has not the knowledge of how to help it. New things are to be done in new ways, and our official circles belong mostly to the old. It may be this fact, therefore, which gives them the air of being more inefficient than they really are. Now, if the nation were obligated to stand or fall by the ability of official circles to become proficient in new order of things, the future would be very doubtful. But that is not the alternative. As the growth of the new leaf pushes the old one off the system, so does the pressure of new order of public servants gradually urge the old order into retirement. The thing to bear in mind is that our official circles do not comprise the nation's wealth-able men. The nation's ablest men have been doing their work in other fields. Our country has been built up not so much by the government as by the people at work, under the leadership which various fields of service have developed. The men are here. That is the fact upon which the mind of the people may rest in utmost assurance. The men are here. They're here in sufficient numbers to carry on all the public processes. They're here in sufficient wisdom, honesty, and courage to meet all our problems. But the men who are able to do what the country wants done will not play the old political game for the chance of doing it. They have too much wisdom to hope that anything can be accomplished by the old methods. They do not crave any honor which is bought at the price of willful inefficiency in office. And while they will fight for the welfare of their country, they will not fight for the tinsel of public title. But when the hour arrives for free, untammered public service, these men will move quite naturally to their places in the public service. The great thing to know is the men are here.